Okay, so let's talk about some of the tools of our trade. All nonprofits, big or small, no matter how big their budgets might be, they still have to try and keep them as tight as possible. So, can you tell us what free tools that you find invaluable for your fundraising?
Oh, um, this changes probably every year depending on what I'm doing, and stuff becomes more available to us as well. Um, I should clarify as well. You know, we're relatively big in terms of our charity turnover. It's over 1 million, but you know we still don't have a budget to deploy fancy software or any of that kind of stuff. So we are tasked, me and my team do shop around and we look for free things. Um, I can highly recommend Canva. I think it's something that everyone maybe has heard of, or they know it exists. It's very, very good. It's free for one user. And I mean, like I say, our turnover is over 1 million. We've got big funders that we are trying to grow the people that are interested in our cause. And it's just me sat in this office designing stuff myself with the help of a couple of volunteers on Canva. So newsletters, flyers, leaflets, things like that. Um, you can upgrade it and you can pay for more. But I think of one of the many things that you'll see, I find it very good. You have to stick with it and you have to practice. That's the bit I didn't do. And then I logged it and had a go. I thought, no, forget it. I'm not bothered. I haven't got time for that. And I left it for 6 months. And then I had to do something on a deadline. And actually, you know what it does is PowerPoint is something I like, and Excel is something I like. Word is something I get frustrated with. I think, oh, if I want to show this to look a bit, you know, a bit fancy and a bit professional, it's going to go to a business down the road. I need it to look like it kind of speaks to them. And all of that you can integrate or work around in Canva. The other
Have,
things I have to say that for free tools, project management sounds like a big thing. It sounds like something that
yeah.
doesn't apply to you. But if you are part of a committee or you're part of a group, you're probably talking to the PRO, the festival officer, the chair of your group, the service users, the kids or the teenagers or the mums or whatever. You're already managing a project, but you're juggling lots of other people doing their jobs, and you're maybe trying to organise a committee meeting or get an application to the council or hold a charity, you know, outdoor barbecue. You don't realise it, but you're doing project management anyway.
And the
Um,
WhatsApp group is going haywire.
and it's pinging and it's going mad. And I've often gone into my charity WhatsApp groups and I've replied about my son's PE kit because I'm in WhatsApp groups for him. So we did get quite WhatsApped out.
Yeah.
Quick sort of wins that we found is to use WhatsApp desktop. So I have you can log in and it's a bit, you know, sort of scan QR codes and stuff. But once you get it sorted, I can reply sort of while I'm working or on my lunch while I'm actually at work. And I think a lot of us are doing that anyway. It's very handy and documents. If you're in a WhatsApp group for your, say, charity organisation, what you can WhatsApp the documents to each other to check them, and then you can open it. Because I really struggle to get it off my phone, and my phone's just packed with rubbish now, you know, that I don't need. The other thing is, I think if you are looking at something like a project management tool, I mean, I've got sort of decorating jobs on in the office, and me and my friend at work who are doing this pro bono ourselves, if you like, we've got a corporate coming in to paint the kitchen, but we're testing something called Asana, ASANA. You just list jobs. So and so is doing this, but you know what it is? My emails aren't getting clogged anymore. I can
Yeah.
find things. This thing's going to be done, and then we don't need to really go at it anymore. You
You
know,
can
it's different.
close it off then.
Yeah, it's closed off. We don't need to, and I don't need to find it and clear it out of my inbox. You know, we talk about email hygiene now at work, and we're terrible at it. So we talk about it probably just to know how bad we are. But I just can't find things half the time, like in my job, to be honest with you. And when it comes to trusts and grants applications, you need the recent bank statement. You know, you need the chair's piece of paper that you signed off. You know, you've got to scan it and everything. And I think if you can store it in a central place, it's really helpful. Um, yeah, I think, and then we were talking also, I know one of your other questions, I'm jumping ahead of you, Kevin, was time wasting.
Yes.
Now, I don't know, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's subjective because what I like to use might not be any good for, say, anybody else. And I think there's some tools that you can be led to believe you have to have. And I think even when we talk about tools, there's something called Hootsuite where you can get that for free. You can log into all your social media. And I think it's really good if you've got a grant to do something around that and you have to study how much there is. I doubt a lot of us do it. Like, we're considered a big charity and we don't even do it that well. I think websites and social media can be a bit of a myth unless it's solely focused on fundraising. Nowadays, it just exists as almost an archive and a one-stop
Yeah.
shop of what you do. But unless that stays fresh, I think it's actually to your detriment sometimes, you know, to have a website that isn't kept up to date. If you don't invest or look like it's something that, you know, is worth putting money into, people won't.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one.
I mean, I think that they're really good points, and particularly when I'm teaching people like fundraising planning or strategy or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think one of the key parts of it is actually setting KPIs, which is, you know, sounds terrible, like, you know, to be all about business speak. But if one of your goals for your event, for your campaign, whatever it is to increase your Instagram following by 500, well, then that's something you put into part of your plan, and then you work towards that.
Yeah.
But if you're just interested in raising €500, is 10 Instagram posts going to equal €500?
Yeah.
Yes, no, maybe. And if it's not, then don't do it. It's just irrelevance. And anytime you're putting effort into something that isn't furthering one of your goals, one of your targets, well, then it's wasting your time. And none of us have enough time. And particularly people who are volunteering, they're managing their full-time jobs. This is an evening thing. We want to make sure that they're taking out anything that's just sucking time away from them and let them focus on what's actually going to deliver.
I agree. And I think we've all come across a Facebook page that hasn't had activity in a year, or a Facebook group that never got going. And I think it's sort of, and it almost ends up like a pressure or the should of things that, you know, that you might have offered to do, or you might have a friend, parent, you know, a sister, brother, niece, who's pretty good at social media, and then they go off to college, you know, and then they've got the logins. You're like, oh no, we've all done that. I just don't think any of us don't. We still have struggled with that in my organisation, and there's 3 of us that can do it. Printing is a funny one, isn't it? As well, I will say,
Absolutely.
It's a strange one. I like to have, you know, I'm so proud of this. It's our new plan. It's the first thing I've ever managed to get a budget allowed to print. So, and I'm so proud of it, but it costs a lot of money. So I don't think I'd be doing this twice a year, even, you know, once every other year, maybe. So it had to earn its place in what we spent money on. That said, there is a bit of power to when you're in the networking thing, where you go to the council chambers or you go to meet with the local politicians, and you do have something that has the why really detailed in it, and not even like what you're going to do with the money. That sometimes that helps, but don't tie yourself to it. But this is us, you know, I'm going to leave that with you. So I think there's some value for some cheap printing, and you can get that done. But just one or two things, maybe.
Oh, I think that's a really good tip, and I think that kind of combines what you were saying at the start about Canva. You can design up a nice 2-page flyer in Canva, and you don't need to print it. Don't waste the money. But if you're going to the meeting or you have an opportunity, you can print a couple of copies even, and then at least you have them without wasting the money in advance, and you have it there. So I think it's really about, when you're talking about free tools, it is about being thinking about, is this going to add value to my fundraising, add value to my organization, or is it just going to suck away my time? And if it's going to do the first, brilliant. If it's going to do the second, then let's ignore it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And also we use Vistaprint, you know, and those sorts of books, you know, we would love to give the business to local printers, but we're under pressure to keep it as cost effective as possible. So if we did get, you know, a couple of 100 flyers for 15 quid or whatever, and we sometimes just do that for an event, and we're able to say, look, this is us, because business cards are going a bit out of fashion. You know, we need something a bit more, and it's hard to get the opportunities, isn't it, to talk to people about what you do.